Thank you, Derek. I'd like first and foremost, on behalf of UN Environment, to thank the Iron Earth Alliance as well as yourself and all the team, and in particular to thank the audience of about 200 people that have registered and manifest an interest to participate in this event distributed worldwide. I will take this opportunity to share with you in a very humble way one key initiative that UN Environment has been working in the last 4 to 5 years, and is now at a new stage, and which is our Environment Live platform of data and services for sharing data, information, and knowledge globally. I will present Environment Live in 2 different parts. The first part, I will try to give you a very brief summary of what is Environment Live, the importance of Environment Live, and some indicators of the actual usage of the technology, data, and services. And on a second part, I will actually move to a more dynamic demonstration of Environment Live, giving you a flavor of what you can do by using our knowledge and open access platform for data and information on the environment. Very briefly, on the first part, Environment Live is about science, data, and services. And we know how important it is in today's world of big data overflow of information to have specific access to specialized information. And Environment Live is about information on the environment. We do provide all UN member states, all the United Nations member states, access to information knowledge on the environment. We do provide this information with a major goal to support and facilitate environmental policy by conducting foresight, outlooks, and assessments, and in particular providing capacity building to countries. Education and capacity building is at the very core of our Environment Live services. Definitely, it is a key core area of Environment Live, data and information on the Sustainable Development Goals. And also, we provide the link of our technology to citizens, business and private partners, as well as non-government organizations and any other international organization. In fact, our major final goal is for Environment Live to impact in the livelihood across 3 different levels: countries, regions, and the world by large. How do we do this? Environment Live is not a portal. It is not a page, a web page. It's not a website. It is, on the contrary, a portfolio of technology and data services, from which I will just select the indicator reporting information systems that countries can use to report on the sustainable development, or I would select the citizen science projects and platforms that we make available on Environment Live, or information on multilateral agreements and international agreements on the environment, and so on and so forth. So we look at Environment Live as a portfolio of services and data, much more than a simple or a single portal. We do not centralize information. We provide a hub for data sources distributed worldwide. How do we measure the effectiveness of using the tool? We try to understand how relevant is it for policymaking. And in a recent survey in 2017, about 53.8% thought relevant, about 31% very relevant, and in fact only 11% thought slightly relevant. So we do think that Environment Live can have an impact. we have now been monitoring the use of Environment Life, and definitely it ranges worldwide, the use of Environment Life. But more important than that, and strengthening the core strategy behind Environment Life. We do not centralize information. We do partner and we do link as a hub to more than 25 partner organizations, international agencies, former WHO, UNICEF, UNESCO, World Bank, so on and so forth. And by doing that, we are able to collect, analyze, validate information in more than 950 indicators. So our policy and practice is about connecting world data, is not about centralizing world data. Definitely, we do have layers of more intelligent analysis of this data, and two clear examples of these are the analytics and insights we use, as well as the indicator reporting system, as I referenced before. Our indicator reporting information system is now having the potential to be used worldwide, with a manifest interest from different countries and regions around the world. And I should make a note here that our partnership with Ajidi and Abu Dhabi has been of a tremendous success by making possible the indicator reporting information system to be used in such a worldwide landscape. So I think I've provided you what we consider to be the basic information about what is Environment Life, how important it is and relevant, how it is being used, and more fundamentally, how we partner with international organizations around the world to provide the data, the information, the statistics and services, including Environment Life. What I'll try to do now, and you have to forgive me if I do any mistake, I will have here my two colleagues, Josephine Muller and Eric Lietstra, to help me if I do that. But I will try to demonstrate very rapidly to you, in order that I will be available for questions, how we use Environment Life to support policy, but also to help the lives of millions of people. So let me move now to the actual Environment Life. First and foremost, more important, you can access Environment Life on any browser using environmentlife.unep.org. And by entering in our Environment Life platform, you can immediately access a very simple to use interface. Let me show you how, as a policymaker, let's imagine that I am a Minister of Environment of any of 173 countries or 93 countries in the world, and I want to access data and information on the environment. I go to World Data, and just by clicking World Data, we can, only by 3 clicks, access any kind of information data available on Environment Life. I can go globally, or I can move to one of the 6 UN environment regions. I can select specific regions such as OECD, the European Union, whatever, or I can just select one country. And as we are based, and I'm talking to you from Africa, from the big Africa, let me try to select here. Whoops, I've selected the Gabon, but you can use Gabon. Let me select, I was thinking about selecting Uganda. Now it's going to Gabon again. It's insisting going to Gabon. That's not a problem. Let's go to Data and Maps. If I go to Data and Maps and I access data related with a specific country, in fact, I have Uganda there, so it's not. And if I go to data on that specific country, I can access a very large number of indicators and data. Let me imagine that I want to select access to improved water sources or access to improved water sources in rural areas. And by selecting that, I can graph the data. But imagine now that I not only want to select data for a country, but I want really to map the data and compare the data between Kenya, it's insisting, okay, between Kenya and Uganda, and we can easily compare the access to improved water in Uganda as compared to Kenya. If we want to download this data to a popular format or to an Excel format that can be used and graphed to other things, we can do it very easily. If we want now to, that's the most interesting thing about Environment Live, if you want to integrate the analysis of these indicators with the Sustainable Development Goals, very easily we can go to the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of Agenda 2030, and we can look at goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. And in fact, we can see how indicators are mapped and how indicators are doing as integrated in the overall sustainable development agenda. And that's the comparison between the rural water and the urban water and over time. But moreover than that, we have integrated a number of technologies, and so we can really map on any country that has available data how specific applications such as the freshwater monitoring system is on a permanent basis providing access to freshwater data. And so the integration between data, graphs, and maps is something very unique on the use of these kind of tools in Environment Life. Now, imagine that we do want to understand how Uganda has a number of responsibilities worldwide, internationally, and we want to understand how the reporting obligations for international organizations is needed from the Uganda government, and we will very easily go to legal instruments and understand over time how Uganda is meeting the deadlines and the reporting on the environment related to the reporting obligation, the legal instruments. So it's this kind of flexibility that really allows for the use of data and information as integrated. If you are an expert and you really want to go deeper into the download of data, you have an easy tool that is accessible from all over the Environment Live, that is the data downloader, that will allow you to select from a very substantive set of indicators. As you can see, we have here again the Sustainable Development Themes and Goals, and for each one of these Sustainable Development Goals, you can select countries, regions, or SDG regions, and then you can water and sanitation. You can come again here and select different indicators, select a specific region, and then come and submit to get access to the data that you have for all that region, for all those indicators. Okay, imagine you want to download this data, you know, that you can use it in your own work, your own analysis. You can very easily save the file, open the file in Excel or any other application, go for it. So I've demonstrated, and you can do this for any other kind of the Sustainable Development Goals of the agenda, any other region, any other country, or SDG region. So this gives you an idea of the flexibility that you can use to actually come and go for the data. Now, let me demonstrate how easily it is also for you to go, even if you are more expert in a certain number of tools such as GIS, Geographical Information Tools, and if you really want to work around data on specific countries, how you can very easily, let me try to do it, very easily have your own data and just drag and drop your own data to produce maps that are workable for what you really need on specific topics, specific teams or specific countries, specific regions all over the world. So this provides you an idea how you can very easily use geographical information systems and cross-reference those systems with data and information on countries or on specific teams. Imagine that, and that's one another advantage of Environment Live. We have linked to a number of open data sources available worldwide, And in the specific topic of water and about Africa, imagine we connect to several different things and several different open data sources distributed worldwide. And we want to access, again, information on water and clean water and data. And you can very easily link to those sources, and you can see how dynamic these platform and tools are, and go to groundwater resources in Africa, access specific data sets of groundwater resources in Africa. And as you can see, very easily have very detailed continent-wide analysis that can support the work of policymakers, the work of government officials, ministers, and so on specific areas such as groundwater resources in Africa. Just to give you an example of how these can really be used and how we are using it, we can very easily go to our assessments. UN Environment is producing thematic assessments, regional assessments, global assessments, and I can provide you how that kind of data and information can be used on regional assessments. We have, as you can see, we are covering all 6 regions of the world, from Africa to West Asia and Asian Pacific. And let me show you how those data and information can be very easily integrated, in maps, be integrated in studies, and you can see groundwater storage in Africa, for instance, can be integrated in specific studies. As you could see, so you can do these not only for maps, but also for charts. You can do these for infographics. You can do these for tables. So any kind of data, information, or knowledge that you have available. If you are more, interested in really conducting a search, we have developed as part of the Environment Live tools a very specialized search tool that can very easily provide you access to information. You can see here the search works looking for pages, looking for data, looking for maps, or even looking for publications. So, and that provides you 1 to 3 clicks away access to information based upon these very powerful search tool. As you can see again, pages, data, publications, maps, you can have very specialized information to use in your reports, to use in your assessments. As I was referring to, there's a critical area where UN Environment is working and the Science Division is working, is to provide policy leaders all over the world early warning information about the environment. And to provide early warning information about the environment, let me go back to the home page. You have not only the SDGs that provide you the long-term trend on sustainable development information, but you can also go to assessments. And I've shown you regional assessments, but you have specific areas of assessments where you can directly use data for conducting assessments. On drivers and pressures, these are more specialized information, but just to give you an idea how this works. So here we have aggregated in a different way, not for sustainable development, but based upon drivers and pressures, how that specific data can be used, around countries, regions, or the whole world. And again, we can download information by just selecting a specific indicator, selecting 1, 2, or 3 specific indicators, going to select the countries, to select the regions, Africa or Europe, whatever, and then again being able to submit specific kinds of graphs, submitting information, drawing the chart, and doing all these kind of things. I think this is more relevant than exhaustively going over the tool. Just to provide an idea, we have aggregated information over different topics. Here you can see over the topics, or a different categorization of topics. Again, you can come and you can see how these different data is aggregated for different topics, for different regions, for different kinds of bar charts and so on, and how you can draw on the graphs, the charts, and then how you can submit and download your information for your own use. So I think this provides you an idea. I'll go here to a specific topic, which is on how assessments are linked to the SDGs, the Sustainable Development, and we have integrated a number of tools in order to be able to make the linkages between indicators on assessments and the indicators on the Sustainable Development Goals. And by linking the two dimensions from the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that are running through until 2013 to the specific topics of the assessments, we can understand how clean water, that's the topic we are analyzing, is somehow related with a specific target of or indicator, and how these dynamically can clean water and sanitation that we are analyzing from the beginning, and how these definitely links to the indicators of the Sustainable Development to improve water quality. And by selecting improved water quality, we can even go deeper in detail to select specific indicators of that water quality in order that we are able to have those specific indicators mapped on a map on the fly, as we have been demonstrating. So you can see how powerful is the tool to select over time specific Sustainable Development Goals, how these relate with our assessments, and how the specific indicators are being distributed worldwide. This is an example of the flexibility of the tool that provides you an idea how you can use data, information, knowledge for assessments, for policy making, and for, in the long run, for sustainable development across the world. Let me now show you one more specific area that all that we are doing is about the lives of people and citizens. And so we do have a specific area on environment life for communities, for citizen science, for people. A number of communities have already been joining Environment Life. It's open, is open access, and we have specific areas where you can get in, log in, access your own area within Environment Life and be part of a community. Just to give you an example, as a practitioner, sometimes when I do have some free time, which is not so usual, we can very easily get into the system. I hope I still can connect into the system. And you get, sorry, from a different domain is not permitted, so I might be blocked here to access the system, which might be interesting. It's Environment Life. This will be able. I'm trying to connect with my own passwords and okay, now it allows me, probably I put the wrong password. So this allows any citizen, interest partner, policymaker to get into a private community of practice where he can access specific information, but he can also go back to the areas that I've just shown to you, geodata, can access regions and country data, and work with the data, download the data, do all this kind of information that I was looking for, or go to the data download and download this on indicators. So what I'm trying to show you is that there are some internal areas for the work of the communities and communities of practice. So we have now more than I think 2,000 users using the communities of practice that allow you as a citizen to interact with the platform, with Environment Life, to be part of the community. Just to demonstrate how these impacts on people, and to finalize the presentation and to be hearing your questions and to be happy to answer your questions. I will just show you how environment life data can be used to save the lives of people. We are promoting a number of citizen science projects, activities that impact directly on people's lives. And these go from health and environment areas to security and environment areas, biodiversity areas. But one that very recently we promoted worldwide is an initiative that is now aggregating experts all over the world on the detection and monitoring and alert system for mosquitoes. And mosquitoes mapping and alerting has been shown to be impactful on more than 2.7 million lives a year, where by using all the data that we can, aggregating and monitoring over time how these data and the different species of mosquitoes are being spread all over the world, we can in fact save against very well-known diseases, Zika virus and so on and so forth, in order that we can really have an impact on people. We can have an impact in the lives of millions of citizens all over the world. So, and this provides you, I think, and I think this was the concluding message I wanted to convey. Our data, information, and knowledge on the environment is meaningful because it's having an impact in the lives of people. And I will conclude now, Derek, and passing over to you for the Q&A session of the webinar.
Before we move to the questions and answers, I'd like to invite Carolyn Savoldelli to respond on behalf of the sponsors of the webinar series, the Eye on Earth Alliance.
Yeah, I'm Carolyn Savoldelli from the World Resources Institute, and I'm working on a project called Resource Watch, but today I have the privilege to speak for the Eye on Earth Alliance members. So thank you, Professor Caldas, for presenting Environment Live today. I really personally enjoyed the presentation. I think this is an ambitious and impressive project, but it's really an embodiment of Eye on Earth's core principles and a big step towards achieving its mission. I think my big takeaway is that Environment Live is a free open access platform that not only improves equitable access to credible, relevant information that decision makers need, but also helps users to identify some of the data gaps that remain. And I think importantly, it integrates data across sort of social and environmental issues, which can tend to be siloed in our work. I think you said it best. You said it's about connecting world data, not centralizing it, which is a fantastic collaborative approach that I'm happy to see a lot of people thinking about. A couple of things that I really liked, allowing the users to easily create data visualizations makes the information accessible to a broader audience, which really increases transparency and ultimately accountability. Not to mention it allows us to track progress towards and connections across the SDGs in a visual way, which I think is helpful when there's so many indicators and goals. And I really like that you walked us through the perspective of example uses. I think it really showed how useful this platform can be in action. And just to say, I think a lot of Eye on Earth members are looking at this treasure trove of data within their organizations and from their partners and their organizations, and are thinking sort of, one, how do we get it to the people who need it quickly and easily? And two, where can we be working to fill the data in? I mean, certainly that's something we at WR are thinking through, and I know a lot of the Eye on Earth Alliance is thinking that way. And I think open access platforms like this are a great step towards allowing us to collaborate across user communities, spur new innovations, and advance upon existing standards for data for decision making, which is all a great step. So thank you, Professor Caldas, on behalf of the Alliance members for the work you and your team are doing, and I really look forward to seeing how the platform continues to evolve.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Caroline. So we will proceed to questions. The first question we have is from Javier Soraski. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Javier, I've opened your mic if you wanted to put your question.
Thank you very much. My name is Javier Zulaski. I am CEPEI's Governance for Development Research Coordinator. CEPEI's offices are in Bogota, but I am based in Argentina. First of all, I want to thank for the presentation. And my question is, if the platform, the site, I don't know how to call it yet, are from there, are you following the inclusion of environmental issues in the reports that countries submit to the HLPF? I refer to the voluntary national reports.
Thank you so much for the question, for the specific question. We are due. That's one area of enriching with data environment life with specific country data. We are taking on this partnership model that we're developing. There are a number of regions that are going ahead in terms of contacting their countries and in terms of collecting and analyzing information that we then digest some of those to relate with our indicators, some others to make available on the open access platform. One way we are following is countries on their thematic assessments and their thematic reports, as well as on the states of environment. They have very rich sets of information. As it stands now, and being very realistic, I should say we are about 20% on the road to really making available country data on the whole platform. And that's very realistic. So it's a long road. We are progressing, and we should be about 20% on the road. What we are much more ahead and focused is on the collection of information from all kinds of reports from the countries that are related with the 26 indicators that UN Environment is responsible as a custodian agency. So in those 26 indicators that cover about 6 to 7 of the goals of the Sustainable Development, in those 26 indicators, all kind of information that any country in the world is working on, for those we are collecting the whole set of them, and we are working on them. If that is clear to answer your question, I hope.
Yes, thank you very much.
Great, thank you. We have another question now from, and forgive me if I don't pronounce this properly, Brianna Besh. So Brianna's, according to her email, seems to be with the US Environmental Protection Agency. The question is, does the platform include subnational data? How much subnational data is available?
The quick answer is no, as now. So we're collecting data at a country level, at the regional level, and the global levels. Any subnational data that is available, it has been the responsibility of the countries to provide those specific data sets. But as it is now, we are not yet collecting subnational data. So data indicators and statistics are available on Environment Live as now on the levels of a country level, national level, on the regional level, and on the global level.
Okay, thank you. There's a question from Thomas Maschler. Again, forgive me for the pronunciations. Thomas, I've opened your mic if you wanted to put your question.
Yes, thank you. My question was if you can explain again what users can do in the private space. Like, I understood that you can create certain communities around certain topics, but can you maybe elaborate a little bit further how this works? And I'm working for the World Resources Institute in Washington, DC.
Thank you for our colleague from the World Resources Institute. As now, we have opened to the public and the citizens the access to the communities of practice. And this is a collaboration tool that has been categorized in several different topics that the user can enlist itself and register for the specific community of practice. Within that community of practice, it can in certain circumstances, create its own community of practice as well, and become a moderator of a community of practice, and then share data resources with colleagues and that community of practice. The users can have their own information there. They can share folders and files, not only on a personal basis, their own personal folders and files related with the environment, but also on a collaborative basis with some colleagues or a group of colleagues. And in fact, in some communities, we are allowing, for instance, we are supporting the work of a community of 120 experts for the Global Environmental Outlook. And users can, in fact, collaboratively write reports and documents and share those reports and documents in that private section of the environment life. So I would say that as is now, we're progressing. We are giving access to community of practice. And so this creates the possibility for the user to become a member of the community or a moderator of the community and share information on a personal basis or on a collaborative basis. To give you a sense of creative uses of these, in Latin America and the Caribbean, a community is coming up with a set of regional indicators framework in order that data and indicators, a number of data and indicators can be shared across different countries in LAC, in Latin American Caribbean, all the 33 Latin American Caribbean countries. And so they will be creating a community to share those indicators and to work collaboratively on those indicators. So it goes from the very personal files and folders to the more collaborative, very wide regional collaboration on a specific topic.
There are a couple of questions from Mukesh Gupta and also from Bruce McCormack. Mukesh has asked me to read the question, so given that his question and Bruce's question are very similar, I'm going to ask Bruce to put.
Okay, thanks a lot, Derek. Alex, very impressive presentation and platform, system, whatever word you want to use, looks really great. The question I've got, and I presume it's the other one as well, what quality control checks are applied to ensure that the underlying core, raw, basic data is accurate?
The point from Mukesh, his question is essentially the same, but he says, could you please talk a little about the editorial framework stroke oversight standard and guidelines to ensure quality assurance?
Thank you so much for this question. It's quite critical, very important. What we have put in place is a very rigorous statistician quality control with a number of statisticians here, as well as colleagues in other agencies, but particularly working with the UN Statistical Division, the Interagency Expert Group on Statistics for the SDGs, and a number of other statistical organizations. And what we have put in place is every data and indicator that we want to assume to have full quality validation and control goes over a procedure, a check and validation procedure on a number of criteria, such as, giving an example, the source of the information, whereas or not have a number of time series of data, the methodology that is behind the production of the indicator, so on and so forth. And for those, and I can tell you this embraces and includes 988 indicators coming from more than 25 organizations, related indicators related with particularly the environment. But for those indicators and statistics, we can fully assure, and that's the main global database we have, we can fully assure statistical validation of the data and indicators. Then we have a number of other data that we do not consider as part of the global database of indicators. It's worthless to say that all data on SDGs is foolproof on the statistical validation. Okay, for the other specific data sets, such as country data, we rely on the country and the source for the quality and validation of the data. But we explain that those data sets are not being validated, referenced by our global database system. Okay, so and these are the two main scenarios for bringing data into environment life. And the third one is definitely linking to the hub, linking to external data. And on that, it is clear that we are linking to external data. That is the responsibility of the owner of the data. Okay, and I think this explains quite well the three different varieties of data and information that we allow to be available on Environment Live.
Let me move to Ahmed Madavi. Ahmed, you have three questions in the queue, and I think a couple of them have perhaps been answered more or less in previous questions, but you had a particular question on the kind of the usage constraints. Would you like to put your question?
Caldas is an excellent information and site that really is very useful. And my first question is that how the data are obtained. Are they obtained from the government authorities? Just, for example, in many developing countries, and this the data about the chemicals, pesticides, and this type of compounds, how dependable are if they are obtained from governments? This was my first question, that how dependable are and how they are obtained. And the next question is that how often they are renewed, the data. And the third question is that are we allowed to freely use them online, anywhere and anytime? Thank you very much, Professor Caldas.
So let me start by the last question. So yes, it's an open access platform. You can freely use the data as long as you reference the source. But definitely it's an open access, fully open access platform. So you can freely use the data for the purpose that you wish. The first and the second question that are very critical. So we have data sets. The global database is based with 988 indicators is collected from more than 25 international agencies and organizations. For those data sets, and these encompasses also country data. Okay, so country data, regional data, and world data on specific topics such as the World Health Organization, the United Nations Statistics Division, the Center for Research on Epidemiology of Disasters, so on and so forth, UNESCO. So those data sets, even if they are referencing country data, those are obtained on a very standardized procedure from these international organizations. They go over the statistical validation procedure, and they are managed in the global database on a very regular basis. And we do use the criteria that we use for the collection of the data, we use for the updating of the data, and so on and so forth. So this is very clear. For the data that is coming directly from countries, we tend to rely on the environmental ministries and the National Statistics Office of the countries. But this is work in progress. We should be very prudent here. So we have, as you can understand, we have 173 nations part of United Nations Environmental Assembly and 193 countries on the UN member states. The work we are doing is steady and growing on a regional basis, and we're relying on our regional offices spread from Latin American, Caribbean to on one side to Asian Pacific on the other, going through Africa, Europe, United States of America, America world, as well as West Asia, so and Africa. So basically what we are doing is using our regional offices to work with the National Statistics Office and the environmental agencies to report on data. Again, to be very pragmatic, we are very far from having full sets of data from country level. So let's say 20% on this kind of road. But the procedure we are going to use is to use the National Statistics Office as well as the environmental agencies' data in order that it can be validated and high quality.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the question, and Alex for responding. Let's just try one more time with Vincent. Vincent, I'm going to open your mic in case you've returned. Did you want to put your question? Vincent Oji.
Good morning. I'm calling from Nigeria. My question is on the comparability of data on the platform. For instance, in the area of urban climate, if you want to compare country by country basis, can we use a data from the platform per country on a country basis to compare to other countries? Are such data available? For instance, on the effect of climate change on the urban environment, as an example, are such data available on the platform? Thank you very much.
If I may respond as best as possible, comparability of data is a real issue in all statistics, and with regard to disaggregation, we do have a major problem. As one of the colleagues and attendees have pointed out, we still only using data at a national and country level. Okay, which misses a huge amount of data disaggregated at sub-regional and even sub-regional levels, and where the problem and the issue of comparability of data becomes even more serious. Okay, with regard to comparability of data at the national levels, the country levels, we can assure you more or less the robustness of the statistical procedures, because we are employing the best known statistical procedures for comparability of data, and we are using the international data as being already validated by countries and submitted to international organizations for comparability. So with regard to comparability of data at the national level, we can more or less assure you the same levels of quality of comparability that we have at any other statistical division or agency, if that replies to your question. So I would put in two different levels. Yes, it's a critical problem, but we are not using data, disaggregation of data below the national level. But at the national level, we would assure the same quality, statistical quality, as it is assured by submission of national statistical offices to any international organization.
Thank you, Alex. So the last question from Jerry Cunningham.
Just quickly, thank you again, Alex. Jerry Cunningham here, former colleague of Alex in the Science Division, now I'm retired, Nairobi. My question was in relation to a marketing plan, whether there's a marketing plan for Environment Live, because, you know, we've gone through a few different iterations in terms of branding, from UNEP to UNEP Live and now Environment Live. We have a very good proof of concept here at the moment, as Alex showed, and I think it's important that we reach out to more providers, but even more importantly, get the users using the system. So that's the basis for my question about a long-term marketing plan. Thank you, Derek and Alex.
Okay. And Alex, before you respond, there is a question that's just come in, and this is from Inye, and it's not unrelated. The other question is there a way to collaborate with others that are interested in the same research topics through the web page? So I think this last question kind of links to how the community engage and how UNEP Live is kind of extended out. So perhaps if we can kind of wrap the two questions into one, and then that will be the last question.
Well, thank you. Well, Jerry, it's more than a pleasure to hear from you. So it was quite an enthusiastic time when coming here for UN Environment, having the pleasure for your excellent work that you've done on Science Technology Forum. So a big cheers to you. Your question is more than valid. So we are now at a moment of having already drafted an action strategy and action plan that includes a global marketing strategy for Environment Life, because we think we have reached a stage that we are ready now to deliver we have identified 4 major communities. The scientific communities that are more related technically to specific topics on Environment Life. We have identified clearly the policy-making communities. We have identified the private partners, because UN Environment is involving itself into an agenda of partnering with private and business. And finally, last but not the least, definitely with citizens. So so by having identified these 4 target audiences and communities for Environment Life, or the Reshape Environment Life, we have developed a number of actions and activities for engagement of these communities. Definitely communities of practice is one of those, but more active involvement, particularly through the regional office and the countries, is another action targeting these 4 specific audience and communities. So my direct answer is yes, we do have an action plan for the global marketing of Environment Life that will go through the distributed network of regional offices, and we'll be targeting these identified 4 target audience and target communities. I hope this at least motivates you to be positive on what we hope to be a successful delivery of Environment Life. There's a key distinction now we will be using as a modus operandi for the marketing and the delivery of Environment Life. We will be partnering. We will leave behind a model that was more centralized. It was more focused on the technology, infrastructure, and the data, and we will be moving directly into a partnering model where we partner with different institutions, we partner with different agencies at the 3 different levels. So if these summary, so we do have a marketing plan, 4 different target audiences identified through the regional offices, and with a model of a partnering. So that's definitely what I could say very succinctly for the marketing strategy in place at the moment.
Great. Thank you, Alex. We've now overshot, so we do need to bring it to a close, because